Hello and welcome to another Hand Drink Solo wine info video. And for this wine, we return to a winemaker that we visited a few months ago, namely that of Chris Groenewald of Pounding Grape Wines. Today we're going to be discussing the Bringing Back the Joy Skin Contact Sauvignon Blanc 2021. But before we do any of that, I need you to note the BIZARRO sticker on the outside of this bottle. Remember, with every BIZARRO sticker, this means that the video is definitely worth watching before you actually open the bottle. BIZARRO wines are a little bit like Willem Dafoe or Steve Buscemi wines. You need to have the appeal explained before you just dive right in. And that's kind of what BIZARRO wines are like. So the video helps to give you a little bit of context. I mean, like Willem Dafoe, is he exquisitely good looking? No. Is he captivating? Absolutely. And I'd say the same for both Steve Buscemi and this Bringing Back the Joy Skin Contact Sauvignon Blanc 2021. So what of it? Well, to start off, it needs to be said that this particular wine is a slightly reactionary response from winemaker Chris Groenewald to this state of despondence that he found himself in over how boring he thought all South African Sauvignon Blancs were.
I'm really sick of that crap.
And so he wanted to bring back the joy, I guess in the same way that a hippie might want to do at a love fest, except instead of handing out hugs and giving words of encouragement, he's the kind of hippie who just spikes the punch with LSD. And as we dig deeper on this wine, I mean, even the vineyards are crazy. So this is again from the Polkadraai up with a little bit of elevation, but it's grown in these crazy deep white beach sand vineyards. You can't even get there with a normal vehicle. You need a 4x4, and have been farmed by the legendary Dani Carinas, who has used no herbicides and no pesticides for at least the last decade. So you've got a essentially organically farmed vineyard growing in beach sand, and then you've got the South African national blind wine tasting champion Chris Groenewald taking these grapes and making a skin contact Sauvignon Blanc.
It's wild stuff.
So as I said, this is a skin contact wine, which means that it's a white wine that is made like a red wine, where both the juice and the skins are fermented together instead of them being separated, as they usually are with a white wine, and having just the juice being fermented. This is important to remember because when you're sipping on it later and you want to know why the heck there's such grippy tannins on the tail of a white wine, well, now you know. The other thing to remember about a skin contact wine is that because the skins are left in during fermentation, yeast has far more building blocks to work with in order to create some pretty wild flavors and aromas that aren't normally there on white wine, because the skins aren't normally there on a white wine. And there are some purists who argue,
This is an abomination!
and the reverse argument, which I think Chris Groenewald subscribes to, is to say that, well, actually, this is the most natural and full expression of the grape that is possible. You're not removing anything, you're simply allowing the grape in its entirety to ferment and deliver the flavors and aromas that are in there. Some might argue this is the most complete Sauvignon Blanc that you could possibly taste. So, what does it taste like? Well, we'll start by giving it a sniff. And I mean, goodness, we talk about shy wines, and we talk about extroverted wines, and we talk about this kind of little nose in the glass, nose out the glass spectrum. This is off that spectrum. This is not Streisand. This is not Depardieu. This is an elephant on meth with a body morph disorder. It is absolutely huge. And I'm not even sure where to start. Okay, maybe we'll start with the most classic element. So up front, you've got herbal lemongrass, you've got a little bit of capsicum, kind of bell pepper, you've got some asparagus like you might get on a Sauvignon Blanc, and some Cape gooseberries. So those are the classic notes. After that, it gets a little wilder. You've got this very distinct sweet pepper dew aroma, it's just insane. And then what Chris Groenewald describes as red peanut skins. Now, I'm not necessarily smelling that right now, but I mean, I wanted to put it in there in case you were sniffing and going, man, I'm smelling red peanut skins, but then you doubt yourself because, like, is that even a thing? But in short, there's a whole lot of sweet and savory stuff going on. I'd say possibly more savory even than sweet. And let's give it a sip and see what it has to offer. Well, the savory elements continue to abound. The sweet pepper dew, almost spicy with capsicum, that comes right to the fore. And then you've got the tart apricot, which just lifts the whole thing. Beautiful acidity that leaves your mouth watering. And right on the finish, there's a sort of salted lemon rind going on, like when you're on your 8th shot of tequila and you can't remember what order you're supposed to eat everything in. You can really feel that citrus rind, lemon rind expressed through the grippy tannins on the finish of this Sauvignon Blanc. And so you might say, Han, this is pretty wild. What on earth do we pair this with? Well, there is a website that says you should pair this wine with Asian cuisine, which is a little racist in its generality. So Chris himself is a little more specific. He says you need to track down some ramen or possibly some dim sum, and make sure that BB King's The Thrill Is Gone is playing in the background. That kind of completes the picture for Chris. Okay, so that's all we have time for today, but I would imagine this is a wine that's going to trigger quite a lot of questions for people who are not used to skin contact wines. So please drop them in the field below, or drive around to my house at 2 in the morning and say, what the hell have you given us? That'll be fun. If you're watching this on YouTube, why not subscribe to the Hand Drink Solo channel so that you can stay up to date with the weekly videos that I published along niche cultivars, unusual winemaking, rising winemaking stars, and some of the most exciting regions within the South African wine.